Ah, yes. Like the youngsters are singing there, we believe in freedom, we believe in truth, we believe in justice, we believe in the American way of life. It's 10 minutes after 4 o'clock. Thank you for being with us. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Hour number 2 is officially underway now that I'm here. We'll get to your telephone calls momentarily, 615-737-9986. A lively first hour, I think. I don't really remember it. But I think we had a good conversation with Congressman John Rose. That's just the where I'm at mentally. You know, things come in. It's like incoming, outgoing immediately, right in this ear and right out that ear. I'm fuzzy. I'm fuzzy, man. I'm fuzzy.
No, you're fluffy.
Yeah. Connie said you were fluffy.
Was it Connie that said that?
I think that was Miss Connie.
Miss Connie called me fluffy?
Or Bonnie.
No, Bonnie.
Oh, it was Bonnie.
Yeah, Miss Bonnie.
Come on, Ken.
It was Bonnie. Bonnie, Connie, whomever. I don't know. I've known a lot of them, and they all think I'm fluffy, which is fine. I am kind of fluffy.
You know what makes me sad?
What's that, Jackson?
I'm not going to see Ken's nincompoop dance today because his camera's broken.
Yeah, what's the story over there? We mentioned that in the first hour, and then I somehow got on a rant and got away from it. So
talked about two bills.
Yeah.
Well, you were blaming Joan for it.
Well, I mean, you know.
I mean, she's got a record.
Look. When the cops learn that cars have been broken into, and then they find out that on the street where cars have been broken into, there is an individual that has been arrested, apprehended, and jailed for breaking into cars, I think that's the person they go talk to first, Ken. You know? All I can tell you is that Joan Jones is a known buster of stuff. She's a known buster of things. She busted up the TV. And maybe she busted up the camera. I don't know.
Joan Buster Jones.
Joan looks like if you made her mad, she would give you the buster.
I wouldn't mess with her.
Listen to me, Buster. I bet Jones would give you. I wouldn't mess with her.
I would not mess with Sister Joan.
No, absolutely not. I think Joan would take all of us.
Definitely.
I mean, in the ranking order of people that would deliver whoopings that work for this radio station, I would put Joan probably right up there at top.
Yeah.
Who's two?
That's a good question. You know, Chad used to be an athlete.
Yeah.
Well, he used to be. I mean, well, I say used to be. I mean, I don't.
He's a bit of a ruffian.
You know, so kind of a roughneck.
I'm going Joan, Chad, Hand, Ken.
Sam's a pretty big old boy.
Sam's a big fella. Yeah.
Mason.
Yeah. Mason's kind of a pacifist.
Mason's a big old boy, too.
You know, if Mason wanted to, he could rough somebody up. I just don't think he has the predisposition to do
Weaver.
it. I'm just waiting, Ken. See, he's getting me back for not naming him and the people that I love at this radio station. That's
Mandis.
what's happening right now. Mandis!
New suit.
And me. Hurry up and say it because I got to get to the news.
No, I don't know that shoulder.
It's still hurting, I'll tell you that. So the brand new spanking breaking news that, I don't know, I was out of the room. Ken may have told you about it. Former White House National Security Advisor John Bolton has been indicted for improper handling of classified materials, according to multiple news agencies. Bolton's Maryland home had been raided by FBI agents in August. The search was apparently fruitful, focused on classified information and documents that they believed that Bolton possessed. A list of more than a dozen items seized from his Bethesda, Maryland home of the former National Security Advisor was included in a search warrant filed with the U.S. District Court of Maryland, or the U.S. District Court for the District of Maryland, I should say. Among the technology seized from Bolton's home, 2 iPhones, a red one with 2 camera lenses, a black one with a black case, and we're just kind of listing off these items now. 3 computers, including a Dell Precision Tower, et cetera, a Seagate hard drive, amongst other things. The August 22nd FBI raid linked to a probe of mishandling classified information. A source familiar with the early stages of the investigation told Fox News that CIA Director John Ratcliffe provided FBI Director Kash Patel with limited access to U.S. intelligence that served as the basis for the search. The source told Fox News the evidence justified the raid on Bolton's home. Can't give you any more details than that, the source said. just to say that John Bolton really had some nerve to attack Trump over his handling of classified information. Would you try to find that, Jackson? I might do some sleuthing on my own as well, but try to find, because John Bolton would go on any television network that would have him, and he just lambasted Donald Trump. He knows he can't handle classified documentation in this way. This is when the Mar-a-Lago raid happened at Donald Trump's home. Now, John Bolton is a war hawk, never met a war he didn't want to engage in, never met a group of young people that he didn't want to see bloodied and dead due to a war that he wanted to engage in from the safety and sanctity of his, home or place of business, Department of Defense, or whatever it might be. John Bolton is a bloodthirsty war hawk. He is. He believes in the concept of policing around. It's just, I do not care for his type of foreign policy diplomacy or lack thereof. That said, he apparently was not only mishandling classified materials. What we are being told is that he was offering some of those classified materials potentially to the highest bidder. Remains to be seen when we see the grand jury indictment, but a grand jury most certainly has indicted him on charges of mishandling of classified material. You would have to not only mishandle that material, but you would have to have knowingly done so. And that is key to the case. And potentially part of that is the fact that he was giving this out to people familiar with the fact that he had the information. And what I have heard earlier today is that it was possible that he engaged in even a quid pro quo, meaning a this for that. I'll give you this classified information if you give me something else in return, something of value, even potentially money. All right, so Jackson, you got it. Let's listen to John Bolton in his commentary about Donald Trump mishandling classified information. Oh, there you go, John Bolton. Hoisted by your own petard. John Bolton was a failure in the Trump administration. Donald Trump recognized that they did not have the and look, this does not in and of itself make him a bad human being, except that he doesn't seem to care that when he engages in conflicts around the globe, people die as a result. And John Bolton doesn't seem to care that people die as a result. He is a classic war hawk. He engages in this type of activity from the protection of whatever security facility he might be in, and he forces young men and women in some cases to do his bidding, and they die as a result toward no good end. Tell me the foreign policy success that John Bolton has engaged in. I'll wait. Haven't really been any. He was influential in the George W. Bush administration and attempted to gain influence in President Donald J. Trump's first administration. And Donald Trump realized very early on that this guy was interested in, he had a bloodlust. He was interested in starting more wars, not stopping them. And so he was summarily dismissed from his post as National Security Advisor to Donald J. Trump. And now he has been indicted by a grand jury. We will continue to break that down for you as more information comes our way. In the meantime, it's Nick's turn. Hello, Nick. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing? Good to hear from you, Matt.
Yeah, good to hear from you.
All right, so I'll just get to it. I'll leave it to you to inform any listeners who might not be a fan of a filibuster, maybe elaborate on why it's very, very useful and effective and we should keep it. But I thought it would be very interesting if the Senate kind of pivoted and actually broke with the filibuster. Hear me out. So the idea would be that Republicans, while in charge of the Senate, would actually change the rules of the Senate, which they can do with a simple majority, which is what they've often referred to as the nuclear option, not telling you anything you don't know. But then the idea would be is that they would pass a simple law with the House in hand and Trump to sign it, basically making the filibuster law, requiring that it would always take 60 votes for simple legislation to pass through the Congress, as it were. So that way it would end this whole idea of being able to nitpick about the filibuster or simply change the rules and go the nuclear option. We would be able to solidify the filibuster into law. And I didn't know what you thought about that. I thought it would be a great way to basically put the pressure on the Democrats, say, hey, look, you can come and play. You're not going to tease us into breaking the filibuster. We're in the majority, and yet we believe in democracy. We believe that the minority should be heard and shouldn't be run over by the simple majority. And so we're going to make the filibuster permanent for you as your benefit. Now come play. Come have a conversation about compromise.
So the aspect of the filibuster, I mean, and I understand everything you're just saying, and I'm a little confused. So you want to pass a law by a simple majority requiring the filibuster always be in place?
Effectively. Right now, the filibuster is in place simply by Senate rule.
Right.
Rule 22 of the Senate.
Right.
But what the Senate could do is, again, they can change their rules to pass legislation by a simple majority, 51%.
Right.
So what I'm saying is they break the filibuster
pass this law
time to make it law that now all future laws would require 60 votes. So we can quit having this conversation and this threat back and forth about getting rid of the filibuster.
Well, I think the threat of the ability for the majority to break precedent, and it would be, precedent that was set. The only times the filibuster has been broken, they called it the nuclear option for a reason. I think it was 2013 when Harry Reid busted through the filibuster for lower level judicial, and then the Republicans did it for Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominees.
Correct. Those are the only two times. Yes.
Right. So they have been. So right now it has been siloed to judicial nominations specifically.
Correct. And they could write the law to exclude what's already been done. So they could keep those as done, right, and make a law for all future legislation. Yep.
So why do we need the law? My first question. And no, this is a great conversation. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to go after you. In your opinion, why would we need the law if it's never been broken for non-judicial appointment-based legislation?
So it would put the onus where the onus is, and that is on all members of the Senate to pass legislation, not just the majority in power, which has been the play for Republicans and Democrats alike for decades. The idea is
are you trying to my question is, are you trying to get ahead of what you presume the Democrats are preparing to do with regard to the filibuster?
Well, effectively, yes. That's the end of the whole idea is if you have 51%, then think about that, people. Every 4 years, you could have a whole slew of laws come in, and then 4 years later, the playing field is completely changed every 4 years. The whole point is that it can't just willy-nilly change every administration or every flip of Congress.
Well, I think what this merits,
requires some compromise.
And Nick, if you have the ability, because you seem like a very sensible guy, and I appreciate the conversation, I'm going to put you on hold because this merits further conversation on the other side, and it also merits a certain level of a history lesson. Not to say that most of you don't already know this, but for those of you in Aniana, we'll try to catch you up, right? So why is there a filibuster to begin with? Because we do not govern by the rule of the mob. We do not govern by a majority rule standard. We govern with the rule of law. And the concept of the filibuster was to give the minority party in the cooling body of the Congress of the United States of America, the United States Senate, an opportunity to have their voice heard and to encourage a certain level of compromise. Well, I know that it feels like we don't have any compromise anymore, but we've been through these parts. We've been through these types of things in our nation's history in the past. Sadly, I would tell you that it's perhaps only reached this temperature level once before, and that was directly before the United States Civil War. 24 after the hour. More on that in a moment. I'll let the conversation with Nick's been good. It's 24 after on Super Talk. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's going on, friends? Glad you've decided to join us on this, a Thursday edition of the Matt Murphy Radio Show. When did it become the middle of October? When did I turn around and Halloween's around the corner? Before I have to start Christmas shopping for Ken Weaver already. My goodness gracious. And Ken is tough to shop for, guys.
All he wants for Christmas is a competent offense.
Yes.
Well, we need to get Mateer back in the ball game.
Well, he was back in the ball
Well,
game.
I mean, that wasn't John Mateer, Ken. That was thumbless Mateer,
Yeah, still.
his weirdo brother.
Never mind.
And that's sports on the News Talk station on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah, whatever.
Forget it. The practices at the Tennessee Titans look pretty good. Anyway, more on that later on. So Nick was talking to us about the concepts of the filibuster, and it's kind of deep in the weeds, but I think it's an important thing. The Senate, and Nick already knows these things, and I'll get his thoughts on it in a second as a caller. And you're welcome to call in as well, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. I particularly want, if I normally don't call out people on the live chat, in the YouTube chat, but Billy John, call me. I can help you. You seem to have some sort of mental inability to understand people who appreciate the presidency of Donald Trump. And because I'm not a conservative, nor am I'm not a conservative nor a Republican, but I'm a MAGA guy. I mean, I believe in Donald Trump. I want to make America great again and keep America great. And I think I can help you, buddy. All you got to do is call me. I can disabuse you of some of your assumptions, and I can help you where there are blank spaces. So you call me, and we'll help you out. Anyway, the idea of the filibuster is that the House of Representatives was the House of the people, and it was designed to be a robust, and in some cases and in some ways from the beginning of the American experiment, it was designed to get heated. It was designed to be adversarial. The Senate, that gentleman's club that it is, was by design. Well, one, it was to be a voice of the states. It stopped being a voice of the states with the 17th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, and we could spend all day talking about that. But it was also designed to be a cooling body where the majority in the House of Representatives could could pass things against the better judgment of the minority. In the Senate, they wanted a cooling period to carefully consider ultimately the legislation in and of itself and the ramifications of said legislation. And they wanted the ability to give the minority a voice. And so a 60-vote threshold to break a filibuster is designed to give the minority that important voice to protect those in the minority party and their constituents, to provide a check on the power of the majority, and to prevent the nation from rolling into essentially what is majority rule. Now, I don't know that we need to. Nick's suggestion has been, and I think I heard it correctly, that we should pass a law codifying the filibuster. Right now, it's just a rule. And either majority party can break it if they are in uniform. I don't think you could break I don't think we could break the filibuster right now with the Republicans. I mean, they have 53 votes right now? I don't think you could get 50 of the 53 to agree to bust the filibuster for the government shutdown, even. Because that's how important they understand the deliberation process. It's how important that the filibuster is in the American tradition. Now, I don't believe for a moment that the Democrats consider our American history or the importance of the filibuster in their political calculus. I think they consider their power and their control more than anything. But it also encourages compromise. It encourages people to walk to the table with their political position and try to find more broad consensus with the opposition party. And I don't think we're doing that at all anymore. Sadly, I don't. But I don't know, and this is where I'll bring Nick back into the conversation. Nick, I don't know that you break something that's not, or you fix something that's not necessarily yet broken. If the Democrats made the decision, and this is where I've kind of gotten to on it, thinking about it during the break. If the Democrats came to a position where they busted the filibuster for legislation of their own, then I might consider codifying it into law, because I think the filibuster is an important piece. But I also think it's an important aspect of the filibuster that the majority party, if the minority becomes too dug in or too anti-compromise, and maybe we're there, some might argue that we're there right now, I think it's important that the majority has the ability, if they desire, to go back, to change the rules, if they find themselves up against a blockade of individuals that refuse to talk to them or compromise with them or negotiate with them, that they have that final arrow in their quiver. Does that make sense to you, Nick?
No, it absolutely makes sense. And I do want to say I'm not advocating one bit that the Republicans should break the filibuster now to pass this one bit of legislation that's coming up or any others. It would be disingenuous. What I'm suggesting is they simply pass a bill that makes just an up and down vote, or a clean act that basically makes it law. None of the other stuff attached to it. But to your point, is I see what you're saying about if the minority gets dug in and forces them. But if we can always use that as a point to retreat to, then we wind up in a situation that we constantly come up to. And then at any point in time in the future, the Democrats, just using this as an example, right? It could be the Republicans, but the minority party or the majority party in the future could pass all kinds of ridiculous legislation that would wreak havoc for years before, people can come back to their senses and change the rules or fix it or come to some reasonable compromise. And how many Americans in the middle have been caught up with ridiculous legal fees because their speech wasn't protected online anymore, or the guns that they bought 2 years ago are now illegal and they're being wrangled up by the police. I mean, this is where we can find ourselves very quickly with a simple 51% majority in the Senate, this mob rule. And even if we could go and fix it, how much turmoil would that be for American citizens in that 2, 3, 4, 5 year period while we wait for everything to settle and people cool their heads to prevail?
All right, here's as we talk about this, I want to offer you a compromise position on the issue of the filibuster in the spirit of Senate debate, right? So
yep.
What if I told you that instead of passing a law, as you have proposed, what if we pass a rule in the Senate that says that if you are to filibuster, the filibuster can only be engaged by members present, and it has to actually be a floor filibuster? So, and for those that don't know, right now, the minority party just raises their hand and says, we're not going to allow cloture on this vote. Now, there was no way, a little bit of the history of the Senate, and I had to look this up. I don't pretend that I know this off the top of my head, but it was 1917. Prior to 1917, there were no rules for cloture whatsoever. I mean, so in 1917, the Senate, until then, the Senate rules did not provide a way to end debate or to force a vote on a measure. That year, they adopted a rule to allow 2/3 majority to end a filibuster, known as cloture. In 1975, and I think this was called the Byrd Amendment, the
Correct.
Senate reduced the number of votes required for cloture from 2/3 of senators voting to 3/5 of all senators sworn, or 60 of the 100 members, and that's where we are today. I would suggest that we change that to 3/5 of members present.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, Matt, what you're advocating for is the other rules, say the other rules can be changed with a simple 51% majority. But what you're saying is that Rule 22, the filibuster specifically, would require that it be broken by 60 present members in order to overturn the filibuster.
3/5 of all members present.
Right.
The only thing, and the only thing this would force, it would force them to actually work. So
right.
if shutting down government is important enough to the minority Democrats. They have to stay in Washington, D.C., in their offices on the floor. They have to be ready to vote. So if they leave and go back to their home districts, then the majority can go in. And if you're dealing with 3/5 of members present, let's say 20 of the Democrats are gone, then you could get a 3/5 majority by much fewer than 60 votes.
No, I love that. I think it would need to be formulated in a robust manner so that way the parliamentarian can't find some backdoor workaround. But I do like what you're saying there, and then that kind of relieves the pressure of the constitutional charge against it at the Supreme Court as well, because the Senate is still making their own rules.
Well, and what it also does, Nick, it maintains the importance of the filibuster, but it also reinforces that filibusters should be utilized by the minority only in extreme and rare circumstances. And in those circumstances, they need to be important enough that these senators are willing to put the work in to stay in the body, and not necessarily in the body, but if there's a call to vote, they have to be close enough to get to the floor and vote on a cloture of the filibuster, and they have to have enough members present that the other party cannot get to a 3/5 majority of members present.
No, I mean, I'm convinced. I think that, we've had a lively debate about compromise, and I think that you've kind of convinced me. I'd like to hear what Jay has to say about it. Maybe bring it up tomorrow, see what he has to think.
100%. I'll be happy to.
I like it.
All right, man, Nick, I've enjoyed the conversation. I'm a wonk, okay? So Nick and I are a couple of wonks, and we've been having wonk talk on Super Talk 99.7 WTN regarding the nature of the filibuster. And I have to lean on Jackson here. Jackson, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but am I making sense? So right now, in order to – the minority party gets to raise their hand and they go, we filibuster. You're not passing that. We're not going to allow cloture because you need 60 votes to – so right now you have to have cloture in order to get to a vote on the bill. The vote on the bill is a simple majority, right? So in this case, in order to open the government back, if we got to cloture and they voted on cloture, then you vote on the bill. The bill's a simple majority. It would be a no-brainer. We'd open up the government today. What they can't do is get to cloture because the Democrats won't allow it because you don't have at least 7 Democrats to get to 60 votes. But they're not sitting in the Senate doing that. They're at home.
Just hanging out?
They're hanging.
Just vibing?
So my thing would be, no. You don't get to go home and hang out and scream filibuster. You've got to stay there. And so instead of saying it's 60 or 3/5 of senators sworn, it's 3/5 of senators present. That's all. And you would eliminate this garbage because let me promise you something. Old-ass Chuck Schumer and some of his old-ass colleagues are not going to sit there and do the work to filibuster this, performative as it is.
Don't they have to keep talking?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally a filibuster, you have to hold the floor and you have to continue to talk.
Didn't somebody go for
Oh, yeah. There's been, I think Cory Booker was the last one.
Didn't he do like a 20-hour or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Peed on himself.
What?
I don't know that that's true, but
man's got to. I mean,
I want to start that rumor.
Impressive.
I mean, all of that. I mean, yeah.
I think they should have to stay there.
I think they should have to talk.
I mean, just make and
they can yap about nothing if they want to. Talk about the Titans issues.
And I'm not even demanding they hold the floor, which is another place you could go with this and require them to hold the floor. I'm just saying you have to stay there. And anytime John Thune wants to call a vote, he calls a vote. All right, we're calling a vote for cloture. And right now they go, well, you don't have 60 votes because our members say no and their members sworn.
Well, where are they?
Well, yeah, exactly right. Where are they? Well, they're not here. They're in, California and Delaware and wherever. Well, if they're not there, present, ready to vote, then their vote doesn't count. We count the 3/5 off people in the Senate.
Yeah, and by the way, they've all gone home for the weekend.
Of course they have. I mean, it's maddening. That's my solution. 52 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's yours? I'd love to hear from you on The Murphy Show. Hey, this is just for you YouTube chatters. There's a bunch of YouTube chatters out there. on the YouTube page. If you're watching on Talk TV, you can find us over at YouTube. Now, I appreciate you watching on Twitter or Twitch. Or I don't know who's watching on Twitch, but I appreciate it. What is it, Facebook or Rumble? But if you're watching over on YouTube, this is just for you guys. My mama, God love her, God rest her soul, she used to call the Piggly Wiggly the Hoggoly Woggoly. That's it. That's it. For some reason, they're talking about the Piggly Wiggly. I noticed they're talking about the Piggly Wiggly over on the YouTube chat. And every time I think about the Piggly Wiggly, I think about my mama. Y'all want to go to the Hoggoly Woggoly? Yes, ma'am. Heck yeah. Because you know what we got to do? We got a candy.
Yes, sir.
You always got candy.
Yes, sir.
And
ice cream.
You got ice cream?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Occasionally, when we were really young, you got to ride the little horsey out in front. They had one of the little horsies out in front. Oh, yeah.
And it only cost half a hay penny.
It cost a dime, there, jerk. And this is back before everybody's stuck in their cell phones there, youngster.
We just called it the pig growing up. We had one down the street.
Well, no, man, I miss the pig. Come on. Hoggoly Woggoly. Piggly Wiggly,
still
Hoggoly
around.
Woggoly. I know they're still around, but they're just fewer and further between. Publix is taking over.
Kroger. Big grocery.
I think Publix should change it back to Piggly Wiggly.
I like Piggly Wiggly.
There should be grocery stores named like that.
Oh, we used to have, did y'all ever in Tennessee or wherever y'all have been over your lives, we had Bilo.
Don't remember that.
B-I-L-O. They misspelled both damn words, Bilo. But the idea was, Bilo.
I think it was a Piggly Wiggly we'd go to whenever I was little and we lived in Marshall, Texas. I think it was a Piggly Wiggly.
I used to love the Winn-Dixie.
Oh, you knew you were on
Winn-Dixie.
vacation when you went to the Winn-Dixie.
Wow, we had them, boy. I worked at a Winn-Dixie. I was 3 weeks bagging groceries, and they promoted me to the produce department, and all the other guys got mad.
That's the way to go, Murphy.
25-cent raise there, Weaver.
Yes, sir.
Back then, that was enough to buy a car.
It probably was.
You jerk.
Hey, when you got promoted, you start telling everybody what to do?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'd sit back in the produce room, and they'd come back there and see me just doing nothing.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? I'm stocking bananas. That's what I'm doing. What are you doing?
You throw a bundle on the floor and say, pick it up.
Yeah, you need to pick that up.
While you're at it,
bag boy.
While you're at it, grab that broom.
I'm a produce man. You're a bag boy. Look at this cuke. It's time for the news.